Shalom. This is Sister Jael, formerly of IUIC Atlanta, by way of IUIC Chicago. And I want to start this off by saying I don't care whether you stay in IUIC or not. I'm here to tell you what happened to me because this is a part of my therapy, because I've waited an entire year to speak up for myself. As a sister, you're taught to be quiet, and that's okay. I ain't gonna lie, like, this helped me because before I came into truth, I would never contain myself. Like, half the things I went through wouldn't have gone down the way that they did if I wasn't taught how to hold my peace a lot better. Before I get into it, I'm gonna just tell Deacon Malachi, if you knew me before I came into the truth, you wouldn't have done me the way you did me while I was a part of the congregation in Atlanta. I don't care what you say. I don't care who takes your side. I know, to me, you and the Most High know what's really in your heart. I know you've never liked me. You loved my ex-husband because he got you that job when you really needed it. According to my ex-husband, he got all of y'all that job. And I feel like a reason, the judgment that I received has to do with you not being neutral and not loving me as a sister or a little one in the truth, and instead protecting your friendship before really looking into the matter. Because in each and every situation, you sided with him, you heard from him first what happened and led me with questions to what your conclusion was. So let me get into it. I'm gonna make it short as I can. I've been in the truth for 2 years before I came in IUIC. Joined IUIC because I thought that what I was doing wasn't hard enough, and I didn't think the Most High would even care about it. So I wanted things to be tougher. Truth, and that's facts. No lies or nothing. IUIC Chicago was great. We had our bumps, but there was a lot of love, and I never questioned ever whether or not anybody was genuinely doing anything. Passover 2015. Maybe Passover 2016. It's the year that we went to Florida. I think it was the last year that Passover was in Florida, if I'm not mistaken. Officer Gabriel of IUIC Chicago got blasted very, very heavily for giving a bottle of alcohol to a preteen that was sealed, from what I understood, and handing it to another brother or officer in Israel, or a soldier in Israel. And when I say he chewed him out, it was so bad, we was in tears. I didn't even imagine that something like that could be so serious. They stripped him of his rank, and he came back to Chicago. I felt like being treated as if he's not the one that actually kept or created the process. Like, Officer Gabriel was the reason why I decided to stick with IUIC. The brother really believes, I don't know who he is in spirit, but he really believes. Him and Sister Sarai, maybe Sister Sarah now, of IUIC Chicago, is the reason why I was able to cross the bridge and really stick firm in the truth and learn. And I appreciate y'all for that. And no matter what I went through, what they telling you all about me, you know, I just want you to know that I appreciate y'all so much for what you did for me and my son. Now, I prayed to do something greater because all I wanted to do was help. Anybody in Chicago could tell you that. I wanted to be in the kitchen. I wanted to cook. I wanted to be helping the kids. You know, if a sister did something, I offered correction. Like, listen, I was in it, okay? All on Facebook, plugging and liking and sharing and caring. I did it. Alms, paying, all of that. So I got married, came down here, and found out that I married somebody that was heavily damaged and a big liar. And for a year, it was really hard for me because I never met somebody that lied so much. He lied a lot about silly things, and it bothered me a lot. He lied so much that now, thinking about a lot of things that he told me was going on in the body and the justification he was giving me probably were lies too. An example of that is when we had problems, he told me that Bishop Kenai told him that he could find him another wife. You know, I mean, it was just a lot of things, you know. And now that I'm hearing things about Bishop Kenai, I'm thinking like, okay, well, maybe that part was true. Maybe Bishop Kenai is the reason why Deacon Malachi stood me up and tried to destroy me in front of the congregation. Deacon Malachi, you are the devil that the Bible speaks of. And you are next. I truly believe that. You are the reason why marriages are not working. I'm sorry to Sister Deborah that you have to hear this. I've always felt sorry for you, Sister Deborah. Always. And I've never understood how a person who I came to Atlanta being told about how harsh he was and how unloving and bad he was toward that sister, how he could sit up there and tell somebody how to leave their house. I never understood that. I never understood that. Deacon, you have spoken with me all of 3 times in the whole 3.5 years that I was a part of the body. You do not know me. Please don't act like you know me based on what somebody else has told you. Let me tell you who I am. I'm a woman who grew up in a Chicago housing project where nobody was my complexion, whose mother is an Edomite, let you tell it, and whose father is from the tribe of Judah. I didn't have any children or gotten pregnant with a child until I was 27 years old. And all between that time, I was gang affiliated. I did all type of stupidness and was a part of a lot of confusion. And when I came across this truth, I decided that I wasn't going to rap anymore. I gave up my music career. I gave up my home, my job, and I moved to Atlanta to try to do something better. I'm business-minded. I'm quick on my feet. I'm a quick thinker. And you tried to take that from me because you were friends with the man who got you a job for a trucking company. You never one time sincerely tried to listen to what I had to say. You were very mean and cruel. And I've received correction from leadership before, from Captain Shemaiah. I have been yelled at by Captain Amaziah. He banged his hands on the desk at me because he was upset because I was trying to defend myself at that point. I have been corrected by my sister, Sister Adelia, corrected by the Sister Sarah from Chicago, corrected by Officer Gabriel, corrected by Deacon Asaph. I've been corrected, but you are the devil. Deacon Malachi of Atlanta, you are the devil the Bible speaks of. And the sisters and brothers in the congregation, sit back and listen to your abusive behavior and how you speak to people, all in the name of the Most High God. And it's a sad situation what them sisters and brothers are enduring, all because they're too afraid to say something, too afraid that IUIC is going to go on a campaign of smearing them in their everyday lives and in their walk in this walk to try to be closer to the Most High. Sister Deborah, you might be mad at me for this, but I do not know how you could have possibly endured. And if anybody has a right to the gate, through the gates, you do, for dealing with what you deal with. I am so serious. That man is the worst I have ever met in my life. And I have met some weird people in my walk in life, in the world. I have never met anybody like that. Always, it's crazy because leadership proclaim to do things for the people. Don't be a respecter of persons. But this is exactly what y'all do. Y'all be respecter of persons. Depending on who it is will determine whether or not the person gets put on blast or not. I remember my husband got his officer's rank taken from him. Nobody even knew about it until y'all gave it back. And yet I got put on blast for responding to some things that my husband said to me in private, which he recorded me and didn't record himself. Here I am, a divorced woman in Israel and didn't ever commit adultery. And yet this man is still a teacher in Israel, an officer in Israel. And I know you know all about it. Because there is another sister and her husband who you did the same thing to. And suddenly the man started going home being extra mean, making weird demands, and she just couldn't take it no more, except I took it until he folded. This man tried to tell me to direct deposit my checks into his bank account, which is not an absurd thing in Israel, but there really wasn't a reason to do that because he's a truck driver and I paid the bills because he didn't. He sent me money to do certain things, but other than dropping off the rent, I paid the other bills. Child care by itself was $600 a month. My checks weren't barely more than that from paying health insurance and everything. Deacon Malachi, I had a nervous breakdown January of 2018 because you stood me up in front of the congregation and dogged me without really fully understanding what was going on, because you basing all of this on how you feel about a brother that in reality, the Most High is going to reveal who he is to you. So this isn't a message to tell people that everybody is bad in IUIC. Of course, that is impossible to think because there are some sincere people in that walk, in that congregation. And it's sad that these things have to be exposed because it kind of do put a dent on the walk. But y'all can't go around imposing on people everyday lives. Y'all not paying nobody bills. You're not taking care of my child. You're not cooking for me. You're not taking me to work. You're not working my job. You're not visiting my doctor's appointments, which ask my ex-husband about a doctor's visit. He'll tell you about it, or he'll tell you a lie about how it went down. It's a lot that you don't know because out of pure hurt, I was expressing myself. And in trying to express yourself during these counseling sessions, they already have heard from the husband. So they're going to ask you, or for me anyway, they asked me a series of questions that led up to the conclusion that they already came to. It's basically what happened every time, with the exception of one time after they had already stood me up and ostracized me in front of everybody. So if a sister can stand in front of the body, if a sister can send an email to somebody in leadership and say to them in leadership, I'm offended because this brother didn't say shalom, princess, and she gets an apology emailed to her and $1,000 donation made, I'm trying to understand, here I am, I'm offended. I'm very offended. I'm offended by the fact that I didn't do anything wrong and I was pushed out of the body so you can keep your friend. So you can pay homage to him for helping you get a job. And I want them to sit in front of the congregation and use the scriptures about how much deed helped you get through sin to justify what he did to me. I will never be the same. Emotionally, I will never be the same because of what happened to me. I have anxiety. I never had anxiety before this. I've never suffered from depression before this. I have to go through therapy for the rest of my life because of this. And nobody covered me. Nobody protected me. Nobody helped me. Nobody listened to me. Nobody cared about me. They put a sister on the phone with me to keep my mouth from running to them. And to all the sisters that I talk to, I'm gonna say something to y'all next. I know you trying, you're trying to do the right thing. I'm not really mad, but I'm a little disappointed because there are a lot of you all that could have helped to raise your hand when my ex-husband asked who all speaks to my wife, and only one person raised their hand the day that they stood me up in front of that congregation. And he sat there and 70% of what he said was lies. 30% only being the recording that he chopped up and screwed and put up in front of everybody to hear. All of y'all sat there and just listened to him and pretending like nobody talked to me when there's at least 10 sisters in there that talk to me on a regular. And to the sister that did raise her hand, sister, thank you. I know you heard it from me, but you couldn't say nothing. And I know your husband heard it from me and couldn't say nothing. I know it's a lot of people in that body that heard it from me and couldn't say nothing, because in IUIC, you cannot speak up if it's against leadership. They like to say you can, but that's crap. That you cannot, not without having a problem. And if you bring it out, then you just destroying the truth. You just preventing the walk. It's like, forget telling a sin and forget, telling what's going on. If you blow the whistle, you done. You're done. And it's abuse. And Bishop Nathaniel, I don't know how close you are with anybody, but there is abuse. And if you believe in the things that you're teaching, you need to do a clean sweep. Period. Get them out. Most High gave you the power and the authority to pass the judgment. What are you waiting on, Christ? You know how many Hispanics got to come forward before that happened? We ain't even met all the prophecies. You know how many people getting ready to be destroyed mentally and emotionally while you using the Most High as an excuse to allow people to mistreat and abuse and use the scripture to abuse other people? And come to think of it, every situation that I know about that didn't seem fair stemmed from Bishop Kanai. Every single one outside of me. And I'm thinking that mine might be connected to him too, because my ex-husband didn't care nothing about what Bishop had to say. He was all about what Bishop Kanai had to say. Bishop Kanai, do you believe in multiple wives? And I think a lot of us want to hear it. Do you believe in multiple wives in this life? Do you believe in marijuana intake in this life? I need to know. I don't know. I just need to know. And to the wives that are to all the wives and the mothers in Israel, I'm sorry. I'm not a part of the body. Nobody has authority to tell me when to speak and when not to speak anymore. And it's never been my intent to disrespect anybody. But when you are in pain, you say, ouch. And if I'm in sin for saying ouch, then Father, forgive me, because ouch. It was only the Most High that helped me sustain. And I'm struggling right now to this day on what I'm going to believe and what I'm not going to believe. Because how can you be walking in truth and telling lies at the same time? It's like hate the sin and not the sinner. It's just such a hypocritical idea. So Bishop, I hope you hear this. I hope you receive it. I'm not preaching. I'm not coming up with no other doctrine. Black men have gotten together and Hispanic men have gotten together, and for the first time there's unity, and the people are being abused. Period. I'm a witness to that. I'm a living, walking testimony to that, because I'm divorced and I did not commit adultery, and no, I did not leave IUIC Atlanta. So make your classes, do what you're going to do best, because that's what y'all do. Y'all like to destroy a person's character so people don't believe what they're saying. But I ain't got no reason to put nothing up on YouTube lying about what I went through. No reason at all. Now, to my ex-husband, you will pay me alimony, or I will have you held in contempt of court. I have no mercy for you when it comes to that, because of the way you did me and my child. If you had did things more appropriately and had not lied on me and tried to destroy my character and, didn't try to blackball me in Israel, then I may have had some mercy, but I need my money. There are debts that I have because of you. My life is rearranged because of you, and you signed that paperwork before we stood in front of the judge and agreed and put our right hand up. You swore in court. And let me say something else to you, my ex-husband. You voting, and I got proof you voting. I got called. I got a lot of, I got so much information, it's ridiculous. I'm not blasting you. I'm not trying to blackmail you, but you owe me $3,600. 36, and I want every dime. I want every dime right away, or I'm going to really push and pursue, and I have resources to do it. And I'm going to push to the furthest extent, and I mean it. Because I cannot let you play me in spirit and out of spirit. I can't let you play me like that. Period. And you know that. You know that. I'm not trying to be the average nigga woman, whatever y'all want to call me, whatever. But I tried to play along with the process and the rules, and everybody who enforced the rules broke them. So I want my money. You owe a debt, pay it. That's your problem. That's why you won't get ahead. Because like I expressed to you, let's do things the right way. And if we do things the right way, then the right things will happen. But you never want to do things the right way. And you always wonder why things be happening the way that they do. Until you do right by me, everything you do gonna crumble. Period.